Oh, all right. Sorry, I forgot to do the video on the live stream. Okay, so we're good. Why would you listen to me? I've been through this thousands of times. Helped coming up on about 4,000 people in Utah through the divorce process, been to mediation countless times in every sort of situation that is imaginable. Been there on normal cases, high asset cases, been there on, child rape cases, been there on adultery cases, cohabitation cases, you name it, uh, you know, murder. Have we? Yeah, murder cases. Like I've done pretty much everything. So these are the tips that I give my clients in order to prepare for divorce mediation. So these are really relevant if you don't have an attorney at all, but they're also very relevant if you do have an attorney, because these, again, are the tips that we give our clients. So let's get into this. But first, let's talk about mediation in general. And again, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Marco Brown. I'm a divorce attorney in Salt Lake. So mediation is really the process of coming together in a divorce situation and negotiating a settlement. Okay. So in our office, about 85% of the time, we're going to go straight to mediation. So we file the paperwork with the court, and then we go to mediation right off the bat. We put together the financial data, we choose a good mediator, we, do what we need to do. We talk to the other attorney, and then we get into mediation. And like I said, that happens about 85% of the time. And we usually get things done, especially if there aren't kids. We have a very, very high rate of success in one session of mediation. If there are kids, it's a little lower, probably about 80%. And then usually what we do is we go back to mediation a little bit later on when everybody's had time to process things. But we get, in our cases, we get done in the divorce process about 99% of the time through mediation itself. So about 1% of our cases will ever go to trial. So it's very, very important, this mediation process. And we pick really good mediators to do this. So if you're trying to do this on your own, you're DIY in your divorce, you should really study up on the mediators. You should see, okay, like this, these people help people without attorneys. That's kind of the first question you need to answer. And then this is how long they've been doing it. These are the ratings that they get. You should really do a lot of homework if you don't have an attorney helping you out on this. Now, when you're in mediation, you're almost always going to sit in different rooms. Okay. They're called caucuses. So I'm in a room with my client. The other party is in a room with their counsel, their attorney, and the mediator goes back and forth and facilitates communication, tries to get things done. So a mediator is not an attorney, not a judge, or they're not acting as an attorney. They're certainly not acting as a judge. They're not there to say, oh, you're right and you're wrong. They're there to facilitate communication and get the case done. Now, one thing you have to realize, again, if you're doing this on your own, please realize that the mediator is not there advocating for you. They're not your attorney. They're not going to watch after you. Okay. So if you're there and you're getting railroaded by your soon-to-be ex, they're going to allow that to happen. That's just the way that it works, because that's the mediator's role, is to help facilitate negotiation and communication, not to watch out for either one of the people in the mediation. Now, if you have an attorney with you, then that's a little bit different. Your attorney's there advocating for you during the process. Like I'm sitting right next to my client during the entire time, making sure that my client knows what's going on, making sure that we negotiate really clearly and really well and intelligently based on the numbers and based on the situation. But again, if you're just doing this alone, your mediator is not going to do that for you. Okay, so that's kind of mediation in general. Now let's move on to the tips to prepare for mediation. The first one is know what you want to accomplish and what you really want to accomplish. Okay, so you need to have goals for the mediation, but you can't have too many goals. Okay. Usually when we go to mediation, our goals are like 1 or 2 really primary goals. That's what I'm there to get my client. Okay. And then anything else is gravy on that. But you just can't have too many goals going into mediation. Otherwise, you will never get anything done. Okay. So I would limit it to 1 to possibly 3. Okay. And then if you have kids, number 1 is almost always the custody and parent time of the children, right? Then maybe your number 2 is alimony, or you want to keep the house, or you want to keep your retirement or your pension, whatever that is, right? Lay those out so you know like what you really want to accomplish. But again, that you can only have 1, 2, maybe 3 of those things. Okay. Okay. So number 2 is be flexible during mediation. I know a lot of people that go into mediation and they want to accomplish 5 things, and they will absolutely not negotiate on those things, or they have 1 thing, right? And this is my bottom line. I will never do anything below this or above this or whatever it is. Well, that is simply the wrong attitude for mediation. You have to be flexible. Now, maybe there is something that is really, really your bottom line. Okay. And that's fine if you have them in 1 thing. Again, you can't have them in 2 things. You can't have them in 3 things, because the mediation is going to go absolutely nowhere if you're inflexible in more than 1 thing. So it's okay to sit there and say, yes, this is my bottom line for this 1 thing, but you have to be, if you're going to do that, you have to be flexible in all of the other things. Now, what I would tell you is you should really be flexible in everything, because what that's going to do is give you the ability to negotiate. Maybe you get in there and you come up with a creative solution, and it goes against your bottom line, but you're really going to pick up more money from the house, or more money from retirement, or more money from alimony, or more money from child support, or you're going to pick up more time with the kids in the summer, whatever it might be. And then you think, oh yeah, my bottom line is a little, I can move off of that because I'm getting these other things. So I would tell you to be flexible in everything when you go into mediation, because I tend to think that actually brings the best results. And that's certainly what brings the best results for my clients. So that's the way we approach mediation here. Okay. Okay. So that's tip number 2, be flexible during mediation. Let's go to tip number 3. You got to know your numbers. You got to know your debts. You got to know your assets. You got to know your income, and everything in between. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I sit down with people. They know their income. Almost everybody knows their income. Lots and lots and lots of people, I mean, a huge percentage, do not know their spouse's income. Okay. And then when it gets beyond that, because that's the easy stuff, when it gets beyond that, how much is in the home, how much equity is in the home, how much do they have in retirement, how much credit card debt do they have, how much car debt do they have, what's on the mortgage, so on and so forth. Do you own Bitcoin? They just don't have any idea. And a large percentage, if not a majority of people, just simply don't know what their numbers are. Okay. So that's one of the very first things when we get people in, is to go through their numbers and to say, okay, give me everything you owe, everything you own, and how much you make, and give me your taxes for the last few years. And then we're going to make an assessment, but we need to know these things. That's like the very, very first thing. When you come in and meet with us, we come up with a legal plan. We start executing on that. We're going to give you what's called a financial declaration. It's going to ask you all these questions. And when we get the financial declaration back, we're going to be able to move forward with your case, because we're going to be able to look at your numbers and negotiate intelligently and figure out exactly where we should be going. Okay. So we need these, for example, to figure the numbers to figure out things like alimony. If we don't have your numbers, we don't have what you spend per month as a family, and we don't have your incomes, then there's no possible way we can figure out what alimony is. Same with, the house and all these things. So you have to put together your numbers, everything you own, everything you owe on, everything, all of your income, all of the real property that you own, cars, credit cards, loans, if you owe to medical debt, all of these things. You just got to amalgamate all of that, and you have to know those numbers. Again, if you're going to do mediation on your own, then you certainly have to know these things. You certainly have to have that together. And the reason for this is you cannot negotiate intelligently without knowing your numbers. And if the other person, your spouse, knows his or her numbers and you don't know the numbers, you are screwed. you are just going to get railroaded. You're not going to get nearly as much in alimony. You're going to pay way too much in alimony. Same thing with child support. Same thing with asset division. Like, they're just going to absolutely take advantage of you if they know the numbers and you do not know the numbers. Because again, the mediator is not there to look out for you and to make sure that your just desserts, right? What's fair. Mediator is not there to do what's fair. The mediator is there to help facilitate negotiation and communication. Okay. If you want somebody to help you and watch over you and get you what's fair, then you hire a guy like me and you hire a firm like us. But if you do this on your own in mediation, that ain't happening, right? Like, they're not there for that. So please don't think that. And you, again, have to know your numbers. All right, that's tip number 3. I got a bonus tip here. And that is pick a mediator who is a divorce attorney. Here in Utah, you have myriad choices of mediators. You don't have to be an attorney to be a divorce mediator. You don't have to have been a judge to be a divorce mediator or a commissioner. You don't even have to be licensed to do it. Kind of anybody in the state of Utah can be a divorce mediator, which means that there are tons and tons of them out there who don't know anything about divorce. They've never done a divorce case. They've never done a custody case. They've never gone into court and argued alimony. They've never had a trial. They don't know how judges think. They don't know how the commissioners think. They just simply don't know. And if you get one of those people, they're probably going to give you advice as well, which they really shouldn't be doing, but they're probably going to give you some advice about how they think the case is going to turn out, because mediators do this. And if they're a divorce attorney who does thousands of cases like I have, then that has some import, right? That makes sense to listen to that person a little bit. Or if they were a former judge who became a divorce mediator, that makes sense to listen to that person because they've seen a lot of divorce cases and made decisions in divorce cases. But if they haven't, then they don't know what they're talking about and they're just making stuff up, right? And if you go in there, again, on your own and you listen to these people that are not divorce attorneys and never done divorce cases, then you're going to be led astray. Let me tell you, I've met with a lot of people after they get done negotiating with these mediators who are not divorce attorneys, not judges, and the stuff they tell me that the mediator told them is just crazy town. Okay, so pick a mediator. If you're going to DIY this, pick a mediator who is a divorce attorney. Now, I got to tell you, when we go through and we pick mediators to help our clients on their cases, we almost always pick divorce attorneys who are mediators. Okay, sometimes we pick judges, old judges. Sometimes we pick retired commissioners, but almost always we pick divorce attorneys because they tend to be the best mediators. They tend to be the most resourceful mediators and creative mediators. Judges will tend to tell you what's up and what they think is going to happen in court. And sometimes you need that in divorces. And sometimes we pick those people specifically for that purpose. But most of the time, we don't need a judge to tell us what to do. We need somebody to help facilitate communication, be creative, right? So we are picking divorce attorneys as mediators. So if you're DIYing it, you really need to do that. Okay, so those are the top 3 tips for preparing for divorce mediation. We got the bonus in there. And Dylan, do we have any Q&A?
Yes.
Okay, let's go through it.
So first question that we got was, what do I do if I've hired a new lawyer for back child support in July? I paid $8,500 in motion, still isn't filed.
Wow. Okay, so I have to preface this by saying that I can only answer questions regarding Utah cases, okay? Because I'm a Utah attorney and I'm not barred anywhere else. So I'm going to answer this as if you were in Utah. $8,500 to file an enforcement or a modification action on child support seems extraordinarily high. I mean, really extraordinarily high. I think we get through those types of cases when we get them, because we don't get them very often. But when we get them, we get those cases done for like $5,000, like beginning to end. So if you haven't even gone to a hearing, if you haven't filed anything, $8,500 seems that just stupid high. So I would have a sit down with your attorney and say exactly, like, tell me exactly what's going on. Why does it cost this much? You may want to look over your invoices as well to determine that. But if you can't tell from the invoices what's going on, then that's another problem too. So you may want to have a sit down with your attorney and go over all of this. And if you're not satisfied with that, or there's no level of trust between you and your attorney anymore, then I would suggest going out and really thinking about finding another attorney.
So she did just say that she is in Utah.
Okay.
But I don't think we have any more questions.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it, everybody. If you do have any more questions, you can always message me. I will try to write back, and I really do try to go through all of the comments and everything and see what I can do for people and what questions I can answer for them. If you're here in Utah and you need help with your divorce, we're here for you. Give us a call. It's 801-685-9999. It's Brown Family Law. We will sit down. We'll talk through everything. We'll determine what your goals are, and we'll help you through the divorce process. So again, it's 801-685-9999. You give me, Marco Brown, a call. We will help you out. I appreciate it. And until the next live stream, we're out.